In today's video, I will give you a brief introduction to the legends of the Tengu, the Kurama mountain, and how they are connected. The Tengu are first mentioned as existing creatures in the 7th century. Originally referencing an astronomical phenomenon, the term Tengu originates in China and was a sign of evil and war. During the centuries of storytelling, long noses and a resemblance to birds were established as the main physical features, despite starting out as a celestial fox. They often have been portrayed with wings, beaks, or as humanoid birds, which explains the term Tengu, meaning crow Tengu, as these mentioned characteristics were often resembling birds of prey like crows or hawks. Ranking above the Tengu are the so-called Dai Tengu, significantly more powerful Tengu, usually portrayed with a long nose, thus also called Hanadaka Tengu, Hanadaka meaning long nose. Now that leaves the question, how does one become a Tengu? Much like fallen angels in Christianity, Tengu are people who in their lifetime had shown excessive pride or arrogance. This is why at one point the connection to a Buddhist priest was drawn, as having lived a life of such demeanor was considered a great sin. Just as important as their change in looks is the change in the Tengu's reputation over the past millennium. Still considered evil-bringing yokai in some regions of Japan, now they are mostly considered divine protectors of mountains and forests like the legendary Kurama mountain, which will make sense in a few moments. Let's keep this in mind and take it a step further. Today's battle features Yoshitsune Minamoto, one of Japan's most famous samurai and arguably the most iconic character of his time. He was born into one of the most powerful families of the late Heian period and helped his brother Yoritomo establish the very first shogunate. To understand what happened, I will try to give you a short summary of what had happened before Yoshitsune was born. In a turbulent time of war, his father, an influential leader in Kyoto and head of the Minamoto clan, sided with the then Emperor Go-Shirakawa and the head of the Taira clan, Kiyomori Taira. After that war, the emperor reportedly favored the Taira clan in his decisions, even though Yoshitsune's father had to fight parts of his own clan just to side with the emperor. Consequently, he got upset, started an uprising, and eventually had to flee to a remote province where he ended up being betrayed and stabbed by one of his own men. This is where the story of Yoshitsune begins, because he was not executed but exiled to the monastery of Kurama in the remote mountainous area north of Kyoto, where he was supposed to be raised without ever getting to know he was born a member of the Minamoto clan. Obviously that plan did not work out and he dedicated his life to plot revenge for his father once he found out about the truth and his family's legacy in some of the temple scriptures. To do so, the young Minamoto secretly practiced his swordsmanship in the forest surrounding Kurama. And this is exactly where the Tengu come into play, because devilish as they are, they see the opportunity to incite another war. Sojibo, a powerful Dai Tengu and the head of all Tengu of Kurama, decides to share his knowledge of swordsmanship with a vengeful young exile. This association with the legendary hero leads to the improvement of the Tengu's image over the course of the next centuries. Yoshitsune then goes on to become a skilled warrior and later in life meeting his brother Yoritomo and siding with him in Japan's conflict of power. After winning a substantial amount of battles, he is being honored by the ex-emperor to such an extent that his brother starts to have concerns that Yoshitsune might want to take over, and out of jealousy, Yoritomo starts to hunt his younger sibling. Yoshitsune flees to an old ally where he is safe until said ally passes away and his ally's son refuses to stay loyal and betrays him in fear of being killed himself. Yoshitsune, his family and some of his fellowship commit seppuku and thus ends the story of the legendary Minamoto warrior. It is said that his head was later delivered as a proof of loyalty and was buried in the Shirahata shrine in a city called Fujisama. Now let's see how I hold up against one of Japan's greatest warriors and the Tengu's principle.
守るばかりでは勝機はつかめるぞ。